I'm Maddie, and I'm the social strategist.
I'm Bree. I'm Bree, and I'm the art director.
Just really quickly, we're going to go over a little bit of background on the store. Then we're going to talk about challenges and opportunities that face the store, a quick look at our competitors, and then we'll get into some creative executions. So Frankie Pawnee is a trendy kind of upscale boutique in Wynwood. It shares a wall with the famed Wynwood walls. So art is kind of at the center of what they stand for. They source from artists all around the world. They pride themselves on having very unique products that are sustainable, handmade, and as I said, from around the globe, from artists around the globe, which is kind of cool because Wynwood is an area that has been kind of transformed by artists from around the world. Um, so they pride themselves on having a lot of unique offerings that you can't find easily at other stores. And they call themselves tropical and modern. So here's a quick look at their social pages. There are a handful of other similar boutiques in Wynwood. They are all trendy, super well concepted when you go in. They're very aesthetically appealing. So we looked at 3, Nomad Tribe, Wynwood Shop, and Boho Hunter. Their offerings are pretty similar to what we have at our store, but we found that by looking through their social platforms that their tone takes on a more kind of natural, sustainable, raw kind of side, and ours is a little bit more funky and quirky. And unlike the gallery, we didn't bother looking at the galleries in Wynwood, even though they also do kind of obviously center around the art that they're selling, because ours is a little bit more accessible and a little more everyday what they're selling. So based on looking at our social platform, we realized that we really didn't have any sort of brand voice at all. We have great products, a great offering, and what we stand for is really great, but we weren't doing a good job of telling people about it. It was consistent. We had a consistent logo across all the social platforms. When you buy things, the bags were all branded. But as I mentioned, we have a good story. We just aren't doing a good job of articulating it. And in order to differentiate ourselves from the other stores that are pretty similar in Wynwood, we need to make sure that we have a meaningful story that people can buy into. So our audience, the audience that we chose are millennials. They're aged 25 to 34, so a bit older than just millennials in general, male and female, all races, all sexual orientations, all ethnicities. They're old enough to have kind of mad money to spend, but they don't have families to support yet, so they really do have that disposable income to sell or to be able to buy the products that we have that are a little bit more expensive than your average stationery or card or candle. The mindset of our audience is they're liberal, they're educated, they're socially conscious. They've been dubbed the aspirational class, which basically means that they're spending money that they don't necessarily have on things that they want. They are very concerned with how they portray themselves to others, but even more so than that, they want people to think that they're forward-thinking. They consider themselves tastemakers, and they really appreciate high-quality goods that have an authentic backstory. They work hard, but that being said, they also like to treat themselves. They spend on non-essentials like expensive candles and stationery. They are able to travel for leisure. And when they are traveling, they're going to social media to find out about cool places to go that are unique and local and offer that local experience. And that being said, we focused obviously on kind of making our social platforms more attractive to these millennials. Just a couple of quick stats that we thought were pretty compelling. They're more motivated than any other generation to support brands that give back, which, as I mentioned, all of our products are supporting artists around the globe. They're willing to spend more to have a product that is either locally sourced, ethically produced, or, as I said, have a meaningful backstory. What was really interesting is that 82% of millennials prefer to shop in brick and mortar stores, and when they are shopping there, they are expecting more of an experience than just going into a store buying, um, going into a store buying something and leaving. They are looking to really have an immersive experience. And as I mentioned, they rely heavily on social media, 55% of them finding their shopping news, trends, and a way of vetting stores before they go to them. There we go. So based on all of those kind of key findings, our insight is that a day out for our millennials is more meaningful when also coupled with a memorable experience. With that said, I'll hand it off to the creatives.
Okay, so from here, we came up with a solution of really rebranding. We cleaned up Frangipani's logo first to begin with, but then also we wanted to position Frangipani as the integral piece that you can't miss when you are experiencing Wynwood. So there are all these different things we know about as being very Wynwood. I mean, I would say Panther Coffee, Wynwood Walls, these types of things come to mind. So our solution is hashtag Wynwood as fuck, and we're positioning Frangipani as the piece of the puzzle that completes your true Wynwood experience. So this would be Wynwood as fuck by Frangipani. We would start off the first part of this campaign by posting Instagram stories through Frangipani's Instagram, where we would put up a poll asking people which of these things is more Wynwood. So the first one is Salty Donut or Fireman Derek's, Panther or Miam, Gramps or Wood Tavern. We also want to translate this into a poll for the products from the store itself that will further be reflected during the next part of our activations.
Right, and during the previous one, what we also do is tie up with local influencers and bloggers from the Miami area to like get more people to actually vote on those polls. So our big activation essentially is that we kept in mind the location of the store, right? It's right outside the Wynwood walls, and that location is filled with tourists. But those tourists don't really translate into foot traffic for the store. And for us, the biggest the biggest challenge was like to get those people inside the store, right? We basically based the experience on our own habit. You know, whenever we go travel, the first thing we do when we go to a location is like check out, you know, if there's a free walking tour of the location, right? And Wynwood offers you walking tours, but none of them are free. So we decided to come up with this activation where we offer people as Frangipani free walking tours of Wynwood that start off in location. So, you know, those results of the polls, they will actually be reflected in these, walking tour. So the places that are selected for the walking tour are the results of those polls. So the places that were selected there, they made it to the walking tour. So we're gonna have like a small walking tour that goes into like the different places that are Wynwood as fuck. And essentially, we would lead them back to the store as the final location of the tour, because we want to own the territory of being Wynwood as fuck. This will kind of be, so what we thought of is that we'll post these tours on websites like Airbnb, TripAdvisor, and say Travelocity, and all the other places where people go to look up different experiences, like Time Out, for example, you know, where people go to see things to do in Miami, things to do in Wynwood. So our tour will be featured over there, and this will be the copy for the tour, something like an urban oasis of rustic warehouses, explosive graffiti, and picturesque galleries. Wynwood is the epicenter of Miami's burgeoning art scene. The Wynwood as fuck walking tour is your gateway to explore the best that Wynwood has to offer, that too completely for free. So this will kind of be the description for the tour on all those websites, the one that you saw on the previous slide. And this will be the carousel ads that we create for the products that were voted as Winwood as fuck into like a Winwood as fuck collection for the store. So we create like a carousel ad, and the copy is like, when Rome be like the Romans, when in Winwood be Winwood as fuck.
And hopefully this will bring more of a presence to the store itself, because it's really interesting, the items that they have. It's, the brand does not show what it has at all. So I think that if people were to be taken to this place and it was known just as like Panther Coffee or another spot that you can't miss, it would do great things to position the brand.